Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4 people now. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever flown in an airplane. Good, 4 for 4. All right. I think the act of flying through the air is quite an amazing and memorable experience. It may get pretty dull for the seasoned traveler, but barring infants and toddlers, who I think should be FedExed to their destination anyway, most people remember the first time they've been in an airplane. Lots of times it's for something fun, like flying across country to visit family, heading down south to hang out with Mickey Mouse, or finally exploring that different country that you've always wanted to see. I've flown many times in my life. I lived in Florida and would make the trip up occasionally. I also flew seven hours across the pond to land in Shannon Airport and take a bus trip across Ireland's countryside. I would have told you about that, but I can't really talk about Guinness for 6 minutes. Anyway, my first flight was a little different. It was a hot, sticky afternoon in mid-July. I was sitting on a small runway, not too far off of exit 62 on the Long Island Expressway. The sun was blazing a deep orange color just over the horizon. I got a quick rundown of what I was there to do as a tiny Cessna taxied up the runway. Now, most people are either excited or terrified to get on a plane. I was both. As we walked to the plane, myself, one of my best friends, Tim, he's over there, and 2 gentlemen we had just met, I wondered if this was really a good idea. The back of the plane had no seats. You couldn't even stand. My partner crawled in first, and I scampered behind. On the way, I noticed the pilot. He was an old man wearing a ball cap, aviators, and a Hawaiian shirt. He was dumping goldfish crackers in his mouth. He offered, I declined. My friend Tim and his partner followed along. As the engines roared, I was pot committed. We rose into the air and I was down. I was loving it. As the ground faded away, so did my worries. The 4 of us tried to have small talk, but it was just too loud. Other than an occasional flash of the altimeter, we were all alone with our thoughts. When we reached 10,000 feet, Tim and his new buddy strapped up to each other, and the door slid open. They just sat there for a moment. When they decided to go, they were gone. Soon after, myself and my tandem partner strapped up, and we moved towards the door. I placed my foot on the wheel well, and as I did, I heard something I really didn't want to hear. "I've never done this before," he whispered into my ear, and then we were flying. The free fall is a blur. Hitting terminal velocity is the most exhilarating experience. The wind noise was deafening. As the ground approached, I started to wonder if our chute would deploy. When Tim's chute exploded open, I knew ours wouldn't be too far behind. When it finally happened, it was a little uncomfortable, to say the least. You got to see how you're strapped to a parachute to understand that. Once you're floating, the whole experience changes. It's serene. You don't hear the rest of the world down below. I would suggest that everyone take this flight once in their life. If you haven't figured it out yet, the first time I took off in a plane, I did not land in that plane. I landed on my own 2 feet. Well, I landed on my butt, but whatever. So that's my story of skydiving, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.